It is a fresh final regular season edition of Nick's NFL Tiers headed into Week 17. What do you got, Nick?
Woo! New rules. New rules for the tiers.
What?
If you are not a playoff team or playoff eligible, you're not being included. There's not enough time to concern
like
ourselves
that.
at the committee with non-playoff teams. There are 18 teams either locked into the playoffs or still alive for the playoffs. Those are the 18 teams we will address. Reveal the tiers headed into Week 17. Bottom row, the if-only tier. All those teams are going to finish the year. The Bears are going to say, if only we didn't blow a 10-point lead in the final 2 minutes to the Lions. The Cowboys are going to say, if we didn't blow a 10-point fourth-quarter lead to the Steelers. The Giants are going to say, if we didn't blow an 11-point fourth-quarter lead to the Eagles. And the Dolphins are going to say, if we didn't lose in Week 17 to the Bills, which I think they are, all those teams going to miss out by one game. Happy to be here, tier. These are teams like, hey, we made it. People didn't think we could. The Cardinals, they don't know if Kyler's going to play. The Rams are starting John Swafford. They're just going to be happy to be there. The Colts, after what happened last week, they're going to be happy to be there. And Washington, while I do think Washington, if they get Tampa, can be dangerous, they also right now, who are they starting at quarterback? Heineke? Like, they'd just be happy to be there at 7-9 if they make it into the playoffs. Next tier. Teams we know are going to be in the playoffs, or I believe, the committee believes going to be in the playoffs, but they're heading the wrong direction. Browns. Just lost to the Jets. Heading the wrong direction. Sorry, those are the rules. Titans, I know you're playing Green Bay, but you didn't exactly acquit yourself well in cold weather. And guess what, Tennessee? If you win your first playoff game, you are going to either Pittsburgh, Buffalo, or Kansas City. All those places are cold. All those places could have snow, and you looked awful. And the Steelers, despite the comeback, the last month, they've been headed in the wrong direction. Don't get hot tier. These are three teams that if their quarterback plays great, they look terrifying. Lamar's an MVP. Russ is the best player to never get an MVP vote, is what I believe, and I think a lot of people believe. And obviously, Brady's won a bunch of MVPs and has looked awesome post-bye. Those three teams, while I don't fully believe in them as Super Bowl contenders, if they get hot, they can be dangerous. This next tier, Saints and Bills fans. You should start writing the NFL league office angry demand letters right now. Every other year in modern NFL history, you'd have a bye. Every other year, you'd be sitting at home resting, chilling, waiting for your round 2 opponent at home, one playoff victory away from a conference championship game. This year, no. You got to play wild card weekend. That dramatically lowers your chances of making the Super Bowl. Number one contender, the Packers moved themselves up with the domination of the Titans. And the Chiefs, whose number one contender had been the Chiefs, given what the Packers did, the Packers have replaced that with the Chiefs. Of course, the champs stay the champs. They've been there all season long. 15-1 is what they're going to be. Shouldn't change that. So, Brandon, that is our final regular season version of the tiers. The committee's very proud of itself, if we must say. There was a lot of argument about Buffalo. Buffalo was elevated to a level that I personally might not be comfortable with, but the committee overruled me. So this is where we come out with the latest tiers. Your thoughts?
Look, buddy, I know when to give respect when respect's due. I mean, we started this, week 5, week 6? I'm not sure. This is the first week that you got it right. Throw those tiers back up there. I want to look at this whole tiers thing. Bro, you really got it right. There's really no argument on my end. I look at the Colts, though, Nick, right? Like, think about this. How did this team go from playing for the potentially the number 2 seed in the AFC to be out of the playoffs? Like, that's what happened last week. The Colts went from potentially being the number 2 seed, if a few things fell in place with their win, to being out of the playoffs. The Colts, wow, that's just a whole nother show. But then you go to the Buffalo Bills. All right.
Okay.
I believe that they're the only team in the AFC that can contend with the Kansas City Chiefs, but I understand why you're reluctant to believe in Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, because you think that Josh Allen is too inconsistent. You need to see more. I get it. But the day is coming, Nick, and it's coming fast, where you're going to have to decide and you're going to have to make a stance and say, you know what, guys? I am now going to the dark side. Buffalo Mafia, the Bills Mafia. I may not have been wrong, but I was late to the party. I think in the next 2 weeks, you're going to have to stand up here and make that statement. So here's what I want to do. I don't want to petition you, and I labeled this as a petition, but it really isn't a petition because you got it right. I just want to make sure you have all the information as we're watching this last week play out and unfold, and also round one. I want to make sure that you have everything you need to make that decision like, okay, I believe. Brandon was saying it all year. So here's 3 things for you, buddy. Number 1, Brian Daboll can outcoach Spagnuolo. Okay, Steve Spags. Okay, this defensive coordinator, I enjoyed my time with him when I played for the Giants. I think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's doing a great job. But Brian Daboll, that matchup, he wins that matchup all day. I'm telling you right now, Brian Daboll is creative, he's hot, he's in a rhythm. Did you guys know that offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, they get into the swing of things as well, like players? They get into a rhythm, they get into the ebbs and flows of games. So this guy right now is on cloud 9. So that's number 1. Number 2, Leslie Frazier in this matchup and his ability to scheme versus Eric Bieniemy and Coach Andy Reid. Now, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, it's hard to stop them, but you can slow them down, Nick. And I'm telling you, this guy's able to rush 3, rush 4, contain Patrick Mahomes, and play zone. How did they win the first game? If you don't recall, it was the running game. This kid, the running back, Edwards-Helaire, went off 160 yards. I believe that they'll have a better game plan that can slow down the run game and do exactly what they did in the passing game, and I believe it was week 6. And the last thing that I want to give you, all right, this is the last bit of information, buddy, all right, so you can have it over the next 2 weeks. Josh Allen is the real deal. You just have to trust me and believe me on this one. Please, please come to the dark side, Nick. Please. That's all I have for you. That's it.
I got it. Those are all really good points. And those are all reasons why, if the Chiefs were to play the Bills in the conference championship game, the Chiefs would probably, my guess is, be less than they'd be small favorites, maybe 4.5-point favorites. Unfortunately, none of those reasons dissuade me from my belief that the Bills ain't getting there. That the Chiefs match up well with the Bills, but they ain't going to have to play them because the Bills going to lose before then. So we can revisit. Now, the committee says I'm wrong. The committee says the Bills are the closest competition in the AFC. So that's what the tiers represent. What I represent is my belief that Josh Allen and the Bills, unfortunately, with the great coaching staff, are not going to get to a conference championship game. So that's where I'm at.
So you just trumped the entire committee.
No. The committee makes the tiers.
You're one man.
I make my opinions. But hold on. The gentleman from the Northeast has put his glasses on, and I believe he has a petition to do.
Call. Fresh from the Raven's claw.
What?
Fresh from the Ravens' claw comes the petition for the Ravens to move up, even though they are on the if they get hot tier, because they are very hot for the reasons contained.
What bird was that?
Henceforth, reason number 1, they are already hot. They've won 4 games in a row, 5 if you count the game that they should have won against the Steelers, but, we had McSorley in there. Great beer, not a great quarterback. All due respect, my friend. They got the Bengals next. That would be 6 wins in a row. Again, if you count the Steelers win, which I am. Number 2, number 1 in point differential. 430 scored, 300 given up. Gives them 130. Some quick math. Who's at 128? The Chiefs. Well, perhaps you should beat the Falcons by more than 3 points. And finally, a resurgent Lamar. And no, he wasn't going to the bathroom. That's why I didn't put it at number 2. I put it at number 3. Since returning, 117 passer rating, 3rd best in the entire league. 12 total TDs, also 3rd best.
Preach.
The committee says, if the Ravens get hot, my friend, the Ravens are hot, and they deserve a spot higher on your tier system. Good day.
Okay, so
Brilliant.
here's the thing, and this is probably going to make one member of the panel happy and further anger or frustrate another member of the panel. As a Chiefs fan, the Ravens scare me far more than Buffalo. This is, again, not, I'm removing myself from as a committee, as the president of the committee, this is Nick Wright, the Chiefs fan. Because if the only way, because the Chiefs have a bye, they would have to play the Ravens. And I know I'm a Chiefs fan, but also I think the whole AFC, it's being measured against the Chiefs. I think the question is, can you go to Kansas City and win when we're talking about the AFC playoff picture? That'd be true if I were from any city in America. The only way the Ravens and the Chiefs play is if the Ravens have won a playoff game. And that will have removed such a burden, I believe, from the back of Lamar. It will remove such a looming storm cloud over can he get it done in the playoffs? Is he just a regular season guy? Was last year a one-year wonder? So in order for them to be playing the Chiefs, they will have come off the best moment the franchise has had since the Super Bowl nearly a decade ago. So as someone who is rooting, obviously, for the Chiefs, the Ravens matchup scares me, even though Kansas City has beaten Lamar multiple times. It still scares me. So I think the Ravens, I need to see them do it in the postseason because of what's happened the last 2 years. But, Jenna, I think they are a very, very dangerous team when healthy, and they're getting healthier.
All right, so let's just quickly take a look at games to watch this weekend. You got a whole slate of games with playoff implications. Cards, Rams, you got Titans, Texans, Packers, Bears there, and then Washington, Philly. So I'm sure this committee will be watching very, very carefully. We'll get your take on which of those you think, Nick, will have the biggest playoff implications come this weekend. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.